The hospital room reeked of antiseptic, a sharp sting that clawed at my nostrils as I lay in the crinkling paper gown, my head throbbing like a drum beaten out of rhythm. My arm, heavy with an drip, felt like it belonged to someone else. I stared at the ceiling tiles, counting their pockmarks to keep from screaming. How did I end up here? Just hours ago, I was laughing, clinking glasses, my husband's arm around my waist. Now I was alone, my phone dead, my wedding ring glinting coldly under fluorescent lights. And James was gone. Not just gone, vanished, leaving me with questions that burned worse than the ache in my skull. It started at the bar, a dimly lit joint called the Rusty Anchor, where the air was thick with cigarette smoke and the jukebox wailed old Springsteen. James had insisted we go, his voice bright with that boyish charm I'd fallen for 10 years ago. "Come on, Lena, let's shake things up," he'd said, his hazel eyes catching the light from our kitchen chandelier. I'd been hesitant. Our daughter, Mia, was with my mom for the night, and I'd planned a quiet evening with takeout and Netflix. But James's grin was infectious, and I caved, slipping into a red dress I hadn't worn since before Mia was born. The bar was packed, bodies pressed close, the hum of conversation blending with the clink of glassware. James steered us toward a corner booth, his hand warm on my lower back. That's when I noticed them. 2 strangers, a man and a woman, sitting at the bar. The man had a sharp jawline, his leather jacket scuffed at the elbows, and the woman's dark hair cascaded over an emerald green blouse that shimmered under the neon lights. They weren't locals. I'd grown up in this small coastal town, and I knew every face. These 2 stood out, their laughter too loud, their glances too deliberate. "Lena, you okay?" James's voice snapped me back. He was holding a whiskey, his second already, and his cheeks were flushed. I nodded, but unease coiled in my gut. Something about the strangers felt off. The woman's eyes flicked toward us, lingering on James a beat too long. I brushed it off. Paranoia, I told myself. After a decade together, I trusted James. Didn't I? The night blurred, more drinks, James's hand on my thigh, the strangers weaving through the crowd. At some point they joined us. The man, Ethan, had a voice like gravel, smooth but rough at the edges. The woman, Claire, smiled too widely, her teeth gleaming like a predator's. They said they were passing through, road tripping from Boston to Miami. Just chasing freedom, Claire purred, her fingers brushing James's wrist as she reached for her drink. My stomach twisted, but James laughed, easy and unbothered. Why wasn't he bothered? Hours later, the bar was a haze of neon and heat, my head swimming from too much wine. Ethan suggested a nightcap at their motel. A seedy place off Route 1 with a flickering vacancy sign. "It's got character," he said, smirking. I wanted to say no, to drag James home, but he was already nodding, his arms slung around my shoulders like nothing was wrong. "Live a little, Lena," he whispered, his breath hot against my ear. I swallowed my unease, chalking it up to the alcohol, the late hour, the strangeness of the night. The motel room smelled of mildew and cheap air freshener, the carpet stained under a single buzzing lamp. Claire poured vodka into plastic cups, her movements graceful but calculated, like a dancer who knew every step. Ethan sprawled on the bed, his boots still on, watching me with eyes that seemed to peel back my skin. James sat too close to Claire, their knees brushing as she handed him a drink. My heart thudded, a warning I ignored. I told myself it was nothing. Just a night out. Just fun. But then Claire leaned in, whispering something in James's ear, and his laugh was too loud, too intimate. My vision blurred, not just from the vodka. I stood, unsteady, and said I needed air. Ethan followed me outside, his presence looming as I leaned against the motel's peeling wall, the ocean's salt-heavy breeze doing little to clear my head. "You don't look like you're having fun," he said, his voice low, almost mocking. I shrugged, my tongue heavy, my thoughts sluggish. Something was wrong. The world tilted, and I stumbled. When I woke, I was in the ER. A nurse was adjusting my her face pinched with concern. "You're lucky," she said. "Your blood alcohol was through the roof, and there was something else. Some kind of sedative." Sedative? My mind clawed through the fog. I hadn't taken anything. Had I? My purse was gone. My phone was dead. And James wasn't there. I called my mom from the hospital phone, my hands shaking. Mia was fine, asleep at her house. But James hadn't come home. I tried his cell, straight to voicemail. Panic clawed at my chest, sharp and cold. Had something happened to him? Was he hurt? Or no? I wouldn't let myself think it. Not yet. When I was discharged, I took a cab to our house. The lights were off, the air inside stale. James's keys weren't on the hook. His jacket was gone. I checked our bedroom, my breath catching as I opened his dresser. Empty. His clothes, his watch, the leather wallet I'd given him for our 5th anniversary, all gone. On the kitchen counter, a note in his handwriting. I'm sorry, Lena. I can't do this anymore. My knees buckled. I slid to the floor, the linoleum cold against my palms. Can't do this? What did that mean? We'd fought, sure, over money, over Mia's tantrums, over the monotony of marriage, but nothing catastrophic. Nothing to justify this. I replayed the night, searching for clues. Claire's hand on his wrist. His laugh, too easy, too warm. The way he'd brushed off my unease, his eyes avoiding mine. Had he known them? Had this been planned? I drove to the motel, my hands gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles whitened. The vacancy sign still flickered, but their room was empty, the bed unmade, a single plastic cup on the nightstand. The clerk, a bored teenager with acne scars, said they'd checked out at dawn. No forwarding address. No names. Just cash and a fake ID. Back home, I scoured our life for answers. Bank statements showed withdrawals I hadn't noticed. Hundreds, then thousands, siphoned over months. His laptop, left behind, had emails to an account I didn't recognize, cryptic messages about new starts and clean breaks. My chest ached, a hollow pain that spread like ink in water. Had he been planning to leave me? With her? With them? I called his brother, his friends, his boss. No one knew anything. Or so they claimed. His boss mentioned James had been distracted lately, missing meetings, leaving early. I wanted to scream. To demand why no one had told me. But I didn't. I sat in our living room, Mia's toys scattered across the rug, and cried until my throat was raw. Days turned to weeks. The police found no trace of James, Ethan, or Claire. My mind spun with theories. Had they drugged me? Was it a con? Or was James in love with her? With this life I couldn't give him? I saw Claire's smile in my dreams, her eyes mocking me. I heard James's laugh, now laced with betrayal. I told Mia he was on a trip, but her questions cut deeper each day. When's Daddy coming home? The twist came on a rainy Tuesday, a month later. A package arrived, no return address. Inside, a USB drive and a note. You deserve to know. My hands trembled as I plugged it into my laptop. A video loaded, grainy but unmistakable. James in a motel room not unlike the one we'd been in with Claire. Their laughter, their touches, the way he looked at her like he'd never looked at me. The timestamp was from 6 months ago. 6 months. He'd been lying for half a year, maybe longer. The video ended, but the note's words burned. You deserve to know. Know what? That my husband was a stranger? That I'd been blind, trusting, stupid? I wanted to hate him, but love clung to me, stubborn and raw. I wanted to find him, to demand answers, but all I had was an empty house and a daughter who didn't understand. I still don't know why he left. Was it Claire? Was it us? The ER report said the sedative in my system was mild, likely from a spiked drink. Did James know? Did he let it happen? The questions haunt me, heavier than the hospital's antiseptic sting, sharper than the moment I found his note. I'm left with fragments, a laugh, a glance, a life unraveled, and the unbearable truth that I may never understand.